I hope you enjoyed this evening. Some fantastic fights in the main event, and then some real battles earlier on in the evening as well, which I hope you all found very entertaining. But as much as about the fighting, I think this was about Bellator getting back to business in Europe. And 3 events in 1 week was quite an ask, I think, but the team were absolutely fantastic. Really proud of them. I think they did a really good job about getting this whole thing together. We've had 3 very successful events. So they set the benchmark in America, and it was good for Bellator in Europe to be getting back to events. And obviously we've got 1 more to come next week.
At this time, I'll turn it over to the media for questions. Please remember to click the raise hand function if you have a question. Santiago, go ahead.
David, greetings from Amsterdam. Congratulations on 3 very entertaining events, and thank you for bringing back the Bellator European Series. Are we going on a full schedule again here in Europe? And can you maybe share some of the cities that Bellator is planning to go to?
Yeah, well, basically, we came back with these 4 events. This was the plan. It was kind of like a bubble, obviously, here in Milan, and then breaking new ground, which is going to be really exciting in Paris next week. Then, of course, we're back across to America and to the Mohegan Sun for the Cyborg fight on the 15th, and we'll have a few events over stateside. And I think we'll just be getting our heads together after Paris to work out when the next block of events will come in Europe. And, you know, hopefully back in front of crowds and doing things like we used to do.
Did Bellator re-sign with Melvin Manhoef?
Melvin is part of Bellator's roster, yes.
And then final thing for me, David, you have so many elite Dutch fighters on the roster. Do you think a Bellator event in Holland is inevitable? And how long do you think it will take before the Dutch people can give Bellator a very, very warm welcome?
Well, of course, we're very, very eager to get over there. I've looked at Netherlands as a place where we should be. As you say, we've got plenty of talent from there. And I think it is inevitable that we'll be having a live event there. We probably would have had one, to be honest, had it not been for what happened this year. But I'm pretty confident we'll be seeing you over there in 2021.
Andy?
Hey, Dave. A very dominant performance from James Gallagher tonight. How far away is he from a potential title shot or from the likes of a Ricky Bandejas rematch, perhaps?
Well, if you listen to James tomorrow, I think, isn't it? But he's no, I think, you know, that fight, it was very frustrating because it was, I think, the 4th time of asking. But if there was ever a sort of message to send out there, I think that was a very, very dominant display. He had complete control. He was really relaxed. We had sort of different James this week. Very happy, very calm, and but he really delivered in there. And you know, I think if it's not the next fight, it's sooner or later for him. He's certainly coming in, getting the wins, and that's what you need to do. So, you know, like you say, maybe a belt fight, maybe a rematch, but he'll be up there for sure very soon.
There's obviously a lot of work involved in getting these events going on, especially during COVID times. There's been a strong presence in Ireland and a strong focus on the Irish scene for Bellator Europe. Have there been conversations with the Irish government around maybe getting fights back into Ireland?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as you know, we had an event planned on 3rd of October there, and we were really hopeful we could still make that happen. But I think, as you probably know, it's not just about the country you're in and the rules there. It's actually the flight rules and getting people in and out is presented as much of a problem as the actual rules in the country. So, yeah, I mean, I think, you know, Ireland's done a very good job with this pandemic and, you know, in terms of numbers. But we'll just have to see. I think, you know, as always, we plan to be in Dublin. I'd love to be back there next year, probably with a crowd. But I think, you know, as you saw tonight, it was almost Dublin in Milan, certainly for the top half of the card there. So hopefully we're back very soon.
And last one from me, Brian Moore put on an incredible comeback performance last night. There was a lot of talk, obviously there were things changing with the Paul Daly fight falling out, about maybe Brian being that main event. What was the decision-making process like for deciding on the replacement main event?
Yeah, well, it's never easy, you know, to be honest. We didn't, you know, we don't plan for the main event to go away, certainly right on the last, you know, day before. And we just took a look at the card, and I think, you know, I don't think it was anything against Brian, and he's the fight was absolutely extraordinary here in the arena. I'm sure watching it back at home, but he's just such a strong heart, and it was a great fight. But we took the decision to put Denise at the top of the card with Kate, and I think that was a good decision as well. I mean, that was a great fight. I mean, Denise took care of Kate in 40 odd seconds, and Kate had gone 5 rounds in a championship fight. It was a legitimate main card as well. So, I think it could have gone either way. That was the decision we took on the day.
All right, we'll take a couple more. Jake Smith.
Hi, Dave. I hope you've been well the last few months. Just 3 from me, please. Sort of 3 shows in 7 days is a really big undertaking. How do you assess the way that them shows have played out so far for you?
Sorry, could you repeat one more time? I lost you there at the end.
Sorry, yeah. So obviously 3 shows across the space of a week is no small undertaking. How do you assess them 3 shows?
How would I rate them, did you say? Sorry.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, I thought they were fantastic. I mean, really, really good. We had great fights. I mean, looking back, and it was really exciting, and knowing you had another event coming up within days. So the event a couple of nights ago on Thursday was absolutely unbelievable. The main card was great. I think we had nearly every fight bar 2 was a finish. Tonight was some great fights. Sinead great in the prelims, and it was I rate them really highly. I think they all were very good and all the more impressive given the circumstances.
Next week, of course, Bellator moved to Paris. A huge card in the making there. Why was it so important for Bellator to be one of the first promotion in France to put on a major show?
Well, I think it's a statement of intent from Bellator, and it was important. We see that as a great market for us. It's been a long time coming. We've been prepared to get there as soon as we were allowed to, and we've gone through all the hurdles to be allowed to put an event on in the country. It would have been great to do it in front of a packed stadium. We still will have a crowd there, which is fantastic, albeit just 1,000 at the moment. But it was just an important milestone, I think, to break new ground, and it's even better to be the first promotion in the country.
Of course, now as well, you're bringing Brett Johns into that bantamweight division, which is already extremely stacked. This was announced yesterday. I mean, what's the plans for Brett? Are we going to go in on the European level, or will it be the American shows we'll be seeing him on?
I think everyone was really pleased with that news. Actually, we got a really good reaction to that, and there's a lot of expectation around him. I think if you look at the way we've handled fighters, there's not a real separation. I mean, sometimes, especially nowadays, the geography plays some part in where they fight, but I think with him, you'll see him like all the elite fighters we have over on this side of the pond. They'll be fighting on big European events, but also have the ability to go over to the States and fight against the best over there. But really looking forward to him on the roster.
Donna, go ahead.
David, just 3 from me as well. The first thing I wanted to ask, first off, I've missed you, by the way. We haven't heard very much from you. But the first one I did want to ask was, obviously, the card was supposed to be in Dublin. You would have made, probably give or in around 1.5, 2.5 million euro on the gate. You've missed out on that. What exactly qualifies as a success for you guys in the current climate?
Well, there's different revenue streams, as you'd imagine, from in this world, but it is hard. It's hard for everybody, and I think a success for me was getting back to business first of all. I think it was important to get the fighters busy as well, and we wanted to do that as soon as we can. And as you've seen how big these events were in terms of the number of fights, we try to get through all of our roster over here in Europe and get the guys back out there. Of course, we lose the gate revenue, which isn't great, but we've got a very big TV presence globally, and it's as important to keep those licensing deals in place and give the viewers, remind the viewers of Bellator, and so in this climate, that's the best we can hope for, and I was really pleased with the events as they've gone over the last week. You
had London and Dublin booked when all of this started. Can you talk me through exactly what was going through your head as you were being forced to cancel those events?
I mean, well, I just chaos like everybody else. I think we looked at the May event in London, and it became pretty clear very quickly by probably about middle of March, April, that we would have to postpone that event. And then we were looking at events, and I was starting to think, well, Dublin might actually be the first event back for us. And then it got to the summer, and we realized that wouldn't even happen. So it's just being